Howdy folks, good morning and welcome to this episode of Motorcyclist MC Commute. Today we're going to be riding Can-Am's new Spyder RT Limited. This is Can-Am's vision of three-wheeled luxury touring. Let's throw the helmet on and go for a ride. All right, folks, here it is, Can-Am's Spyder RT Limited. This is Can-Am's three-wheel equipped motorcycle. Now, compared to other vehicles in its class, this is defined as a motorcycle, a three-wheeled motorcycle. We have two wheels in the front, one in the back, and we have a set of handlebar. A handlebar is what makes this vehicle a three-wheeled motorcycle. If it had a steering wheel like the Polaris Slingshot, it would be defined as an autocycle. But this is actually a three-wheeled motorcycle defined in the state of California. You need an automobile driver's license and a DOT labeled helmet to operate this vehicle. You do not need a motorcycle endorsement to ride this vehicle, and that's one of the big alluring things about this Can-Am Spyder RT. Can-Am's been building these Spyder three-wheeled vehicles for probably since 2007, I believe. This vehicle came out, the Spyder RT touring specification variation, around 2009. So Can-Am's been building these things for quite a while, and they've really refined this vision of three-wheel touring. These vehicles are now bigger dimensionally. The cockpit is bigger. The engine has an extra cylinder. It's now an inline 3, and it has all the bells and whistles and touring friendly accommodations. The thing I really like about this machine the most is just the luggage capacity of this thing. Look, this thing has a luggage capacity of 47 gallons. That's nearly 3 times more than Honda's 2021 Goldwing Tour. So much luggage capacity. It's also neat that this thing has Bombardier's proprietary system, so you can easily remove this case and fit a rack, fit a hitch, fit a cooler, fit any number of devices, so you can really customize this vehicle. You can actually literally tow. This vehicle has a towing rating, so you can actually tow things behind it if you want it. I also really like just the sheer amount of comfort you can have. Now, I'm not much of a three-wheeled guy, but if you are someone who wanted just something that's very comfortable for touring at a moderate speed, this isn't the kind of vehicle you want to be rushing around at 90 miles per hour on. You can, but you don't want to be doing it. But if you are someone who likes to follow the speed limit and follow the rules of the world and just cruise very slowly, this vehicle is good for that. And look at the passenger accommodations. I mean, this passenger accommodation setup is just luxurious. Heated grips, heated seat for rider and passenger, a 6-speaker system that actually pounds out the tunes. It pounds out the tunes, which we will show you in a little bit. But enough talking about this thing. Let's throw the helmet on and go for a ride. All right, folks, here we are, a good old-fashioned mechanical key. Yes, I love mechanical keys. Now, like a motorcycle, this vehicle has a handlebar and it has a right twist grip for the throttle. There is no conventional clutch lever or front brake lever. Instead, there is brake pedal here on the right hand side, but this brake pedal not only operates the rear brake like a traditional motorcycle, but it operates the front 2 brake discs as well. All 3 brakes are linked to this brake pedal. The starting procedure consists of turning the key on, hitting the mode button, which confirms that we've read the safety card, which is in here. We flip the switch to run, and then we press the starter button, and the
engine fires. I really would have liked if Can-Am would have integrated the starter button right into the switch. That would be a much more slick setup. Now, this vehicle is equipped with an electronic parking brake. You push this parking brake button here to release it. It takes a second. Every time you hit a button on this vehicle, there's a slight delay, and it just could be a little bit more responsive, in my opinion. All right, let's notch this bike into first gear. We have a 6-speed semi-automatic transmission with these shifters here on the index. Use your index finger on your left hand to put it into neutral, and then your thumb to put it into gear. There's also a big reverse. So you hit the reverse, and then you put it, you hit the reverse, and then you hit the back button. And now you're in reverse, and you can go backwards. But we're gonna go forwards. So let's notch it into neutral, and now we're in first, and away we go. Right away, sitting on this Can-Am Spyder RT, this thing is very comfortable, no doubt. The seat is very wide, it's deep, it's super plush and well supported. I love the rider backrest that it has. It really scoots up the bottom of your butt and the bottom of your back and just keeps you in place on this vehicle. It is extremely comfortable. The handlebar bend on this bike is pretty nice too. It's not too high, it's not too low. It does have a good amount of rearward sweep, which in a way would compromise the maneuverability on a traditional vehicle, but because this vehicle is so easy, its steering manners are so easy, it really moots the fact that it has that not excessive but moderate rearward sweep. And away we go, guys. Power steering, electronic power steering allows this vehicle to handle so nimbly. It is really amazing how maneuverable this nearly 1,100 pound Can-Am Spyder RT Limited is. Now, the transmission in this vehicle is semi-automatic, so it automatically launches you. You don't have to work the clutch. These gear shift buttons, though, you do have to upshift. There is no fully automatic mode on this vehicle, which is really strange to me. So every time you want to upshift, you have to push that plus button. Conversely, when you are deaccelerating, the vehicle will automatically downshift for you even if you don't push the button. So the vehicle is automatically downshifting for us even if we don't push the button. But if we want to upshift, we have to push the button. Very, very strange to me. I would like if Can-Am put a fully automatic mode in. So you could either switch from the manual shift pattern, which is always the way it is, or have a big auto button where you push auto and it automatically shifts. That would be a worthwhile improvement on this vehicle, and I'm surprised why it wouldn't have that. Now, I really like the throttle response on this vehicle. It's very easy to accelerate on. The throttle isn't herky-jerky. It isn't overly responsive, nor is it too muted. The engine that powers this Can-Am Spyder RT Limited is an inline 3 1300cc liquid cooled dual overhead cam 12 valve cylinder head. This engine is built by Bombardier's sister company, which they purchased a long time ago, Rotex. So Rotex is the engine supplier out of Austria in Europe. They are the engine supplier which is owned by Bombardier, which also owns Can-Am. This engine's a big improvement versus the V-twin engine that powered the old Spyder and Spyder RT. That engine definitely didn't have, just because this vehicle is so heavy, it didn't have the power to really propel it. This vehicle is much more adept. It has a lot more torque. Can-Am says 96 pound-feet of torque are available at the crank and 115 horsepower at the crank. Realistically, the highlight of this vehicle is just the torque. The torque and the fact that it has 6 gear and it cruises very well at freeway speeds. The outright acceleration of this vehicle isn't really that good. You nail the throttle, the bottom end is pretty soft. Mid-range comes in early, top end, it hits early, but you have to shift right away. If you don't shift right away, it just falls really flat. So while outright acceleration isn't anything to really write home about, its actual freeway cruising capability is, which we will get to in a minute. Now, I do like the twist and go simplicity of the automated clutch. All you do is twist the throttle and you go. Again, shifting the gears is kind of a pain for me. I wish this had fully automatic mode. That would be a much better solution based on the dynamic of this vehicle. It really is amazing how nimble that this 1,100 pound Can-Am Spyder RT Limited is. These things handled night and day better than the original Spyder RT. The vehicle feels like it sits a little bit lower. The center of gravity feels lower. You feel a little bit lower in the cockpit as well. And it is a very maneuverable machine at these low speeds that we are riding right now. The braking also is a tremendous improvement. The original brake package on these Spyders and Spyder RTs was downright horrible. This braking package is much more adept at slowing the vehicle. I like the added power and response of the brakes on this vehicle. Can-Am was an early leader. Its Spyder RT has always had electronic countermeasures to keep the vehicle stable, ABS, traction control, and the stability control system of this vehicle is much improved. We were riding the other evening in the rain. It actually downpoured rain here in Southern California, and we were riding this Can-Am Spyder RT, and I was really impressed with how you could zip around turns, and the stability control was so accurate that it did a much better job of keeping the wheels in line than the previous version did. God, these brakes are way better. All right, let's give her the beans. This is full beans, guys. This thing doesn't come off the line like a rocket ship. Shifting into second. The transmission has a bit of a delay. Realistically, this whole vehicle has a bit of delay. That's one of the biggest gripes I have with it, is every time you push a button on this vehicle, it takes half a second for it to actually complete that task. It almost feels like this vehicle could benefit from faster computer processing power or a quicker code, because every time you push something, it takes a second for it to engage. And I'm an immediate type of guy. When I push a button, it has to happen now. And that is my biggest gripe with this vehicle. Whether it's engaging the parking brake, putting it in reverse, putting it into gear, everything takes a second. Now we have a nearly 9-inch wide color TFT display that keeps tabs on the vehicle vitals. I like how wide this display is, but it needs to be way deeper. The other motorcycle manufacturers, they measure their screens diagonally. So even though this is wider in terms of width, it doesn't have the depth, and all of the instrumentation on this is pretty scrunched down. You know, I'm a younger guy, but this ambient air temperature clock, the tachometer, everything is scrunched down. They need to fit a larger display with a larger surface area. This is just too small. It is a pleasing upgrade from the old school analog instrumentation on that previous gen. Spyder and Spyder RT. Now, this RT Limited is configured with a 6-speaker stereo, and this stereo system is it is insane how loud it gets. This vehicle easily has the loudest stereo system of any power sport vehicle made to date. It is really impressive how loud it gets. All right, folks, we're going to go left here, holding up traffic behind us. If we were on a motorcycle, people could pass this way more easily. Give her the beans. That bottom end is so soft. This thing could really benefit from more bottom end power. Yes, some curves. Now, the best way to describe the handling of this Spyder is almost a cross between an ATV and a jet ski. A sit-down jet ski and a ATV. This does not handle like a motorcycle whatsoever, not even close. Nor does it drive like an automobile. It literally feels like you're riding a quad jet ski. Now, while this vehicle is exceptionally nimble at low speed and even moderate speed, its maneuverability comes at a price. When you operate this vehicle in a more sporting manner, this thing is it is all over the place. It hunts the road, it's going left, right, and it really lacks a degree of sport ability to make this thing competent when you're trying to go fast. Again, these Spyder RTs are not designed for speed. These things are designed to cruise at the speed limit. So this type of more aggressive sport riding is absolutely totally out of this thing's element. Yes, you can do it, but just be aware that the front tires are hunting. It constantly wants to turn, and it just feels very loose and unnerving. But the trade-off is the extreme comfort you have at freeway pace, at speed limit freeway pace, which we will talk about in a second. I love using the brakes on this thing. They are so much more powerful. Yes, I love that sensation. All right, folks, let's give her the beans. Second gear, third gear. This 1300cc engine is just way more capable. It has so much more torque, where you can carry 6th gear now at 50 miles per hour with it only revving at 2600 RPM, and it still has the torque to accelerate even in top gear. That is probably the biggest difference in terms of 3-cylinder versus 2 cylinders, just that added wave of torque. Now, these Can-Am Spyders, who would buy something like this? This vehicle is designed for someone who wants to experience the open air freedom of a motorcycle, but doesn't feel comfortable for whatever reason balancing a 2-wheeled vehicle. That is the whole point of these Spyder vehicles. It's almost like a cross between a convertible and a motorcycle, kind of. Now, obviously, here in the state of California, you do not need a motorcycle endorsement to operate this vehicle. All you need is a standard driver's license. California state law requires you to wear a DOT labeled helmet when you operate this vehicle. So you need an automobile driver's license and a DOT labeled helmet, and you are off to the races. These vehicles are also very nice for someone who has more limited mobility. They don't have good balance. Their mobility is a little bit more limited, and they want something that is just easier to balance on. That's where this vehicle would come into play. Now, even though this has 3 wheels, one more than 2, one less than 4, this vehicle is not subject to any automotive safety testing or safety practices. There's no airbag, there's no seat belt, This vehicle doesn't have crumple zones built into it. If you get into an accident, you are not going to benefit from the same safety technology you would in that vehicle, or that vehicle, or that vehicle. So that's something to be very aware of. Realistically, this vehicle doesn't feel much more open air than a convertible. I feel like a modern convertible vehicle would give you the same open air feeling with a lot more practicality, comfort, and safety. But if you are a motorcycle person, maybe that won't be the same for you. Yes, braking. Obviously, due to this vehicle's configuration, it is ineligible for lane splitting in the state of California, which is a pretty big strike. The whole point of operating a motorcycle in the state of California is so you can be at the front. That guy knows. And away we go, guys. Still, if you know how to drive quickly, you can still cut through traffic pretty well, and the added torque from this engine really gets this thing going good at a highway pace. Electronic windshield does a great job of protecting the rider from the elements, as this huge canopy, this whole width of this vehicle does a great job of cocooning the rider from the elements. We rode in torrential downpour rain, and this windscreen really did a great job of helping to protect us from the weather. Of course, in a big rain downstorm, nothing's going to protect you, not even the extreme width of this vehicle. But still, if you're someone who's really going to log miles on the interstate and cover ground, this vehicle would be a good option for you, just because it's going to give you that cocoon of comfort. 77 degrees on the thermometer, so we do not need the heated seats or heated grips, but in chilly weather that is going to be a big plus. Now, the whole vehicle is controlled by this switch gear here on the left side clip-on. So with this, we have vehicle statistics, which we can view right here. Again, all of these fonts are way too small, and this display is just way too small. It needs to be way bigger. It's hard for me to read and ride at the same time. Another gripe is the switchgear is super clunky. Not only is there a delay, but the tactile function of this switchgear is downright poor. It is even poorer than Polaris's switchgear, which is really poor. So definitely Bombardier needs to work on the switchgear of these vehicles. That has been a historic problem for Bombardier for decades, is the switchgear and the fit and finish and the way the tactile function of the buttons feels. They still have a long way to go. I do like the ability to pair your Bluetooth enabled smartphone with the vehicle. You can also pair your Bluetooth enabled headset with the vehicle, which is really slick. The interface works fairly well. It's easy to pair my phone with the vehicle. There was some fumbling in the menu. There's multiple Bluetooth menus, so you don't know which Bluetooth menu to be in, whether it's the setting or the actual Bluetooth audio menu. So definitely Can-Am can do some work in the user interface department, but that goes along with increasing the surface area of this display and increasing the fonts. But the menu system and the UI could be streamlined as well. That's a common complaint that many powersport manufacturers have these days. Not even companies like Honda have figured it out. But hopefully these guys can get on the ball. Let's enable cruise control. Cruise control switch here. Again, tactile function feels sloppy. Cruise control is on. You can see the on. It's super hard to read because of how low it's positioned. Let's turn it on. cruise control is on. Ride-by-wire throttle enables a very accurate cruise control that is super responsive to input. It also does a really good job of maintaining speed. When we upshift like that, it automatically disables cruise control. There also is no cruise control disengage from rolling the throttle forward. Vehicles like Harley Davidson, Indian Motorcycle, and Honda with its Goldwing employ that feature where you can manually disengage cruise control by rolling the throttle forward. This vehicle does not offer that. Cruise control engaged again. We rode this vehicle after dark in the rainstorm. The headlights do a pretty decent job of illuminating the road ahead. LED headlamps front and back. This RT Limited also includes some very nice signature lighting, which I like a lot. There's also LED lights in the front case so you can find your goodies when you are loading or unloading the vehicle after dark. The headlamps do a decent job of illuminating the road ahead, but they don't benefit from cornering headlight functionality. And considering the price of this vehicle and its size, this vehicle really should have cornering headlight function. Alright folks, I forgot my iOS enabled smartphone at home, so we cannot play any Bluetooth music right now. We will show you how that works though when we are stopped. Let's see if we can put the radio on easily. We go here, no, down, FM. This whole display is positioned too low too. It needs to be positioned higher. It's hard to keep your eyes on the road and look at the display at the same time. There are other motorcycles that do not have this issue. So Bombardier, bigger screen, move it higher please. All right, we are going to try to play some music. There is a dedicated volume button here. We are on a static channel. You push right and left on the seek, and it doesn't seem to be working for whatever reason. So that's strange how you push the right and left and it doesn't have a seek. Very strange. All right, we're going to disable the volume for now, and we will tune in with the Bluetooth audio later. I love the torque of this engine. It is really capable at cruising. If you're looking for just an easy bike to cruise at the speed limit, at the posted speed limit on, this vehicle is it. These rear view mirrors do a nice job of showing you what's going on behind you. There is a hint of engine vibration present in this vehicle, but I wouldn't say it's excessive. You definitely do feel it through the hand controls, especially at this engine running speed, which we can't see right now because we're in the audio menu. Let's see if we can exit it. There we are, 3,200 RPMs. You definitely feel some engine vibration through the controls, but it's not off-putting. These floorboards, this Spyder RT Limited has huge floorboards, huge. You can put your feet farther back, you can put them far forward. These floorboards are very nice. It is very easy to feel comfortable on this motorcycle. That is its strong suit, is just the sheer level of comfort you have when you're operating this vehicle at the posted speed limit. It is very comfortable. We've averaged right around 33 miles per gallon on this vehicle, which isn't that bad, but it also isn't that good. Obviously, we haven't really been riding this thing at very high speed, so 33 mpg is what we've been averaging. Fuel capacity on this vehicle is 7 gallons. And realistically, for a vehicle of this size, the fuel capacity needs to be way bigger. BMW R1250 GS Adventure bikes are equipped with 7-gallon capacity fuel tanks. And those bikes weigh less than half of what this bike weighs. Realistically, this vehicle needs a much bigger fuel tank size. You have all this room on this vehicle, why would you not fit a 10-gallon fuel tank on this vehicle? Another gripe I have is that Can-Am wants you to put premium unleaded fuel in this vehicle. This vehicle should run on 87 octane. It doesn't have the performance to necessitate premium fuel. Other vehicles like Honda's Goldwing can run on 87 octane just fine, and we want this vehicle to run on 87 octane too. The powertrain just isn't nearly high performance enough to necessitate that manufacturer recommendation fuel. Maintenance wise, Can-Am suggests engine oil and filter changes every 3,000 miles. After that, after the initial 3,000 mile service, 9,400 is what maintenance intervals stretch to. So engine oil and filter every 9,400. Air filters at every 19,000 miles. And brake fluid flushes every 2,000 miles. I'm sorry, every 2 years. It's really important to maintain the braking system on these vehicles because they have so much hydraulic brake lines going through this system, and there's only one linked brake pedal. You definitely want to stay on top of brake fluid flushes. Now, we didn't really get into the suspension on this vehicle, so let's talk about that. This vehicle rolls on double A-arm style front suspension with a motorcycle style swing arm. A belt final drive transfers power between the 6-speed semi-automatic gearbox and the rear 15-inch rear wheel. Now this vehicle has nearly 7 inches of suspension travel, and it really goes over the road very well. We talked about the high level of comfort this three-wheeled motorcycle has, and the suspension just glides over road imperfections very well. Comfort is a sheer strong point in this Can-Am Spyder RT. I love the brakes on this thing. It's so fun to use them in an aggressive manner. Alright, this vehicle also has an eco mode. So you have standard mode and eco mode. And eco mode is allegedly defined to give the motorcycle greater fuel efficiency. I can't tell much of a difference in terms of fuel efficiency or even throttle response. They both feel identical to me, but it's nice that Can-Am offers it. Realistically, it would be nice if they had even a greater array of engine map and throttle map settings. It would be good to have a more sensitive throttle map. It would be good to have a less sensitive throttle map. And for a vehicle of this price, it should have greater electronic adjustability. Warranty on this vehicle. Can-Am and Bombardier recreational products stand behind their Can-Am Spyder RTs with a 2-year unlimited mile warranty with roadside assistance. 2-year warranty, definitely good, but there are other manufacturers out there that offer 3-year warranties with roadside assistance for essentially the same vehicle price. A 3-year warranty would be better for this vehicle. This vehicle is manufactured in Canada, in Quebec. Quebec is where these vehicles are designed and manufactured. Real quick, guys, we'll show you where you get fuel. This is where the 7-gallon fuel tank lives, underneath the seat. That's how you access it, underneath this front seat, which is now 2-piece, which I really like. Again, this seat offers extreme comfort. Let's go into the trunk. We have one trunk right here. We failed to open it somehow. Let's try it again. Now it is open. It is not open. There it is. And look how big that trunk is. A lot of storage space. 47 gallons of storage for all of your things. 3 times more than a Honda Goldwing. This fit and finish needs to be improved. This feels very sloppy and cheap. But besides that, it is awesome to have so much storage on this vehicle. Alright, boys and girls, let's play some music to show you how this thing works. We have this device connected with the Can-Am Spyder. Again, loading this, everything on this vehicle takes forever. It needs to be faster. The whole processing power and speed of all of the electronic functions of this vehicle. We have this button here. This button I forgot to talk about. It lets you navigate between audio sources and your Bluetooth enabled headset and the speakers. So yet another specific button interface. We like it, but it's mounted, realistically it's mounted so low you're gonna have to do this while the vehicle is parked. Listen how good that sounds. 6 speakers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 behind us. This sounds so awesome to me. Easily one of the best audio systems on a power sport vehicle today. I also like that it displays the name of the track and the artist right there. Alright folks, let's wrap it up on this vehicle. Alright folks, there it is. Can-Am's Spyder RT Limited. I really have to hand it to Can-Am. They have made this vehicle extremely comfortable. It is much more comfortable than it used to be. It really does a good job of riding over the road at posted speed limit speeds and delivering the rider and passenger somewhere in extreme comfort. I like the added torque of the inline 3 engine. I like that the engine now has a better sound to it. We didn't talk about that, but the actual character is better than that vacuum cleaner sounding V-twin engine that they used to use before. It's not as sweet sounding as a motorcycle inline 3 is, but there is some character in there. I also like the styling of this thing. Even though 3-wheeler vehicles aren't really my thing, this thing does have a flashy cutting edge look to it. However, this vehicle could benefit from better switchgear, better menu navigation, better tactile function with the switchgear. It could use a larger display, and its electronic adjustments, it needs to offer greater rider safety aid electronic adjustment. I'd love to see different throttle modes, different engine power maps. It would also be nice to see different ABS level adjustment. Would I spend my $27,300 for this 1,100 pound Can-Am Spyder RT? I would not spend $27,400 on this vehicle. Although I like what Can-Am's done with it, and I like how they're progressing the sport and making it more comfortable, more easy to ride, adding nice creature comforts. I do all like that, but realistically, I would just buy a motorcycle, or I would just buy a convertible style car, either or. I would value either one of those conventional vehicles more than this 3-wheeled hybrid. Still, if you're someone who really wants that open air experience, but you just don't feel comfortable balancing a 2-wheeled vehicle, and you don't want to have to get a motorcycle endorsement in the state of California, this Can-Am Spyder RT Limited, if you're someone who wants to really cruise long distances at the posted speed limit, would be a good option for you. Well, folks, that's a wrap from today's MC Commute review. Log on to motorcyclistonline.com. That's where all of my written content lives. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs it down if you didn't, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for riding with us today.